Okay, so picture this. You have to speak to someone, but they don't have eyes or ears or even, a concept of time. Where would you even begin? It's a pretty wild thought, but it gets at a really fundamental truth about communication. I mean, talking to a friend, that's a piece of cake. You share a language, a culture, a whole biology. But what if the audience you're trying to reach isn't just from another country, but from another existence entirely? That really puts things into perspective, doesn't it? We're constantly sending signals out, creating stuff, leaving messages, but the very ground that communication is built on is unbelievably fragile. So that's what we're going to dig into today. A system for designing messages that could actually survive the death of entire civilizations and even the limits of biology itself. Okay, let's dive in.
So our first huge hurdle is something I like to call the sensory wall. And it's this kind of eerie realization that we are fundamentally trapped. We're trapped inside our own human logic and our own way of seeing the world. I mean, just look at this. It completely shatters our most basic assumptions. We see an arrow and we instantly think direction, right? But that's only because our ancient ancestors used pointy sticks to hunt. For some being that evolved in, a gas cloud, an arrow would just be a meaningless shape.
And this right here perfectly illustrates the problem. Our symbols, our units of time, our measurements of distance, they're all just made-up rulers that we invented. To break through this sensory wall, we have to stop using our human inventions and start looking for something that's truly, actually universal.
And that line of thinking leads to a pretty profound question. If every single thing we say, every attempt to communicate, is built on a language that maybe no one else can understand, well, that creates a very, very deep kind of isolation.
Okay, so how do we solve this? We have to look for something the universe itself gives us. We need to find the fundamental rules of the cosmos, the constants that are the same for everyone, everywhere, no matter what. So let's think about the hydrogen atom. It is the most common thing in the entire universe. And it does this one incredible little thing. When its electron flips its spin, it shoots out this tiny, perfectly predictable pulse of energy. This isn't a human measurement. It's a cosmic one. It's like the universe's own heartbeat.
That little pulse, that atomic heartbeat, it has a very specific, unchanging duration. And bam, just like that, we have it, a universal unit of time.
We can call this the universal tick. And by using this as our base unit, we can suddenly describe everything in a language that anyone could figure out. We could tell a total stranger how tall we are by saying we're a few billion hydrogen ticks high. You see, we're not just sending them data, we're giving them the ruler to measure it with.
So there you have it. That's the foundation. Find a constant in the universe, then define your unit based on that constant. But of course, knowing how big we are doesn't really matter if they don't know where we are, which brings us to our next cosmic landmark.
All right, so this is where pulsars come in. Think about it. If you're lost at sea, you look for the stars. But stars move. Over billions of years, our constellations will be totally unrecognizable. Pulsars, though, they are like cosmic lighthouses, spinning at these incredibly precise and predictable speeds.
And this is the truly genius part. By mapping our position relative to a bunch of these pulsars, we can create a map that shows where we are. But here's the kicker. Because pulsars slow down predictably over time, that same map also tells the finder when we lived. It is literally a date stamp for our entire species.
So this incredible cosmic language was actually used to create a message designed to last for eons. But it makes you think, how long will our own messages last? We are all building this massive digital monument with every email, every photo, which brings us to a totally mind-blowing concept about information itself.
You know those cosmic solutions we just talked about? They're built to last forever. Our own data storage? Not so much. Hard drives rot. Servers go dark. Our entire collective digital memory is built on something frighteningly temporary.
This leads us to this absolutely wild idea: the library of everything. Just imagine a digital archive that contains every possible combination of letters up to a certain length. It is a finite library, but what's inside is, well, it's essentially infinite.
And yeah, this is where it gets super personal. Somewhere in that library, the script for this explainer already exists. A perfect description of your first day of school, it's in there. Even the story of how you will eventually leave this world is already just sitting on a digital shelf somewhere. It totally blurs the line between creating something and simply finding it.
But here's the thing, right? There is a huge, massive difference between a computer randomly generating a sentence and a human being intending it.
That intention, that agency, is everything. It's the only thing that transforms random, meaningless data into a powerful message.
Okay, so taking all this big cosmic stuff, how can we actually use it? To help you communicate your own legacy with that same kind of intention and clarity, I've put together what I call the Universal Protocol Workflow. You can use this for brand design, long-term archiving, or heck, even just for writing a letter to your future self.
It's a pretty simple 4-step process. Step 1. The constant. Base your message on a universal truth, like math or biology, not on jargon. Step 2. The unit. Clearly define the scale you're using to measure your idea. Step 3. Triangulation. Give your idea some context by relating it to other known concepts. And finally, and this is the most important one, the stylus. Don't just send the data. Provide the instructions. Tell them how to read your message and what it's supposed to mean.
And that really is the central paradox we're all living in, isn't it? We create more information than any generation in history, which gives us this incredible power to be immortal through our data. And yet, we're probably the most likely to be completely forgotten, because most of what we create is just incomprehensible noise. It's like we're all just shouting into the darkness, hoping someone or something hears an echo.
The thing is, you were born at the exact right moment in history to explore the very limits of what can be said and what can be remembered. So the real question, the one this all boils down to, is this. In a universe filled with noise, what will you be the first to say?